Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you. Good afternoon, Robert. Good to see you, too. Thank you all. Thank you all for coming to tonight's performance. It's the 9th annual festival that Stage Right Theatrics puts on, and I am Robert Cooperman, and I am the founder and president of Stage Right Theatrics. I thank you so much for being here. I have a few announcements. Even though I'm a theater person, I'm not very good with remembering what I'm supposed to say, so I write it down, and then I could tell you about it. So, okay, loaf of milk, loaf of bread, quarter. Oh, that's my shopping list. Sorry, where is it? It's over here. It is. Okay, so a few things. Why am I holding this mic if I'm not using it? A few things. First of all, in the duck bill, you will see information about the Central Ohio Theater Roundtable. Theater Roundtable is a consortium of about 25 different theater companies here in Central Ohio. We urge you to patronize them. Stage Right Theatrics is a member of the Theater Roundtable, so keep an eye out for the shows from the Theater Roundtable. They have a website as well. Tonight's going to work in this way. We have 4 short plays for you. And then right afterwards, the actors, the directors will come out on stage, and we will have an audience talk back. It's always an interesting and fun time, so I do hope you will consider staying for the talk back. And you can ask whatever questions you like, and of the cast, of me, or anything you'd like to know, we'd be happy to share with you. In the playbill, this is the crass part of the presentation. In the playbill, there's an essay that I wrote, and see that I do have some trouble getting funding from local arts organizations. They just don't like what I stand for and what my company produces. But if you do like that kind of thing, we'd really appreciate it if you would help donate to us. There's ways to do that in the playbill. There's also a little donation box outside. If you got some spare change, throw it in there, because the change will do me good. Anyway, I don't know if you saw the sign out front, but at tonight's performance, the first play, On the Edge, the character of the voice, which is usually played by Rich Bloom, and he's in the playbill, he could not be with us. He is under the weather. So for today's performance, the voice will be played by George Spelvin. And I think that's everything that I've got. I hope you will enjoy the show. You'll think of questions you'd want to ask during the talkback. And I'd just like to remind you of the motto of Stage Right Theatrics, and that is, disagreement does not equal hate. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy.
Where am I? This doesn't feel like my bed.
Hello, Adam.
Who are you?
Who do you think I am?
I'm in the hospital. Things don't look good. OMG. Are you God?
Do you believe in God?
Not really.
Do you recognize my voice? We met before when you were a teen and in the hospital.
Oh, wow. I remember. Huh. I reacted to a large shot of penicillin. I heard a screeching sound, and the room melted like I was in a psychedelic dream. My heart stopped, and I had to be revived. My white blood count was so low they thought I had leukemia. Were you there?
I was. I kept track of you. They figured your next cold would kill you. I bet $5 on you not making a year.
And 10 years later, I got a call from a doctor about my white count. He asked, "How are you alive?" They never figured out why I could fight colds and infections. That's why when someone asks how I am, I answer, still alive.
It has been many years, but you are on the edge again.
The edge?
Describe where you are.
Well, I'm sitting with my feet over an edge. Hey, I don't have any pants on.
No underwear either.
Where are my pants and underwear?
Oh, somewhere in the hospital disposal. They thought you were contagious.
Why did you attack me? I woke up with my oxygen tube wrapped around my neck.
Oh, no one attacked you. You rolled over in bed. Then you panicked and tore off the oxygen tube.
And why am I in a room with just a curtain hiding me from the hall? Half the time I have to pee in a jar with the world watching. What the hell am I doing here?
You are here to decide. Either slide off the edge or climb back.
Sliding off seems a lot easier.
Oh, it is. Just ease forward and it'll all be over.
Getting up means people can see my privates.
Well, just slide off.
Hey, what's below my feet? All I see is black, nothing. If I slide, is that the end of me forever?
No, it's just the beginning. Come on, Adam, decide. Last time you came back and fought for your life. This time, take the easy way out. Just slide. Why are you finding this so hard?
The hospital scares me. I have trouble working the TV. It's like the controls have been labeled with hieroglyphics. My home entertainment system has 5 remotes, and I sail through that. What's wrong with me? I know they put me on some heavy meds. Maybe this is a dream or hallucination.
This is not a dream.
Oh, wait. I see what's happening here. I'm delirious. Well, I have things to do. People depend on me. This can't be happening right now.
Oh, Adam, you do have a great sense of humor. It is easy. Either slide or get up and head back.
Shit. Hey, maybe it isn't my time to croak if I change. How about, I promise to be a better person. Can I go back and put some pants on now?
Oh, Adam, you are making this complicated.
Whoever you are, you're a pain in the ass. My cold, naked ass.
Oh, this is dragging on. Do you mind if I take a break?
No, go for it.
Thanks. Ah.
A cigarette? You're smoking a cigarette? A coffin nail?
Oh, I love that name. So descriptive. Now, these are my greatest tools.
At least I don't smoke. Hey, you're deaf.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner.
Why are you trying to kill me?
I do not kill. People make their own choices. I just guide. No, I love non-filtered cigarettes.
Would you mind if I ask you some questions?
You want to interview Death?
Yes. Death is your profession, like doctor. But what's your name?
Oh, it's been a long time since I used it. Wait, I remember. Magnus. I was a slave in ancient Rome. The emperor gave me that name as a reward for killing so many in the arena.
I fought successfully for years, but one day I lost. I was selected to help people decide to live or die. After all, that's sort of what I had been doing.
Are you the only one doing this job?
Oh my, no. I am not the death, I am a death. When you consider the billions of people in the world, one being could not handle them all.
Who offered you this role? Was it God?
No, another death. He said I was a natural.
With so many deaths, how did you see me in the hospital when I was a teen?
Well, you were assigned to me back then. I just kept following you. I ended up losing my $5 bet. You know, you are lucky to have a choice, you know.
Doesn't everyone have a choice?
Oh no. Most pass from disease or trauma. When I get there, they have already crossed over. I just guide their spirit.
Well, are there any funny deaths?
Oh yes. The first thing they say is, I saw it on the internet. Followed by, you know, I guess I should have paid attention to, don't try this at home.
Any happy deaths?
When death comes at the end of a long, hard illness, for them it is a relief from pain and suffering.
I can't see you. What do you look like?
But people see me differently. To those who welcome death, I am dressed in a white robe with a kind face, and my skin color matches theirs.
Do you ever look like the classic Grim Reaper?
I use that image when someone is fear-mongering or death-driven profiteering for donations.
Why can't I see you?
You do not need to see me.
Well, you're not helping me. For heaven's sake, give it a rest.
Believe me, Adam, heaven has nothing to do with this.
What? Wait. Are you telling me that I'm heading down when I give up the ghost?
Oh, you, a ghost? Who would you haunt?
Adam, sweetie, can you hear me? It's Ruth. Wake up, honey, please. I'm so worried about you.
Oh, Ruth, I'm here. Can you hear me?
She cannot hear you. Not until you go back. Well, that is, if you decide to go back.
I want to be part of the world again. This crazy, mixed up, difficult, frustrating world. I have business to attend to, places to go, people to see. Let me out of here.
You are not being forced to stay. You can get up any time you want, or you can slide into your future. How do you feel?
I feel numb. Really, I'll go back and be a better person, okay? Help me out?
Oh, if only you knew how many times I have heard that. I do not think so.
Adam, please try to wake up. We're all frantic worrying about you, honey. I need you. The kids are so worried, and the grandkids are asking for you.
Ruth, I'm here. I'm still here. Hey, Death, this is hurting her, and it's my fault.
She seems nice.
She's amazing. We've been together for decades. I'm not ready to go anywhere without her. And I've never really told her how much I love her. Shit. I am such a jerk. Let me go back and I'll change.
It is totally up to you how to go, forward or back. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for you to decide. Only you can do that.
guess going back will be hard and take a lot of effort on my part.
Yes, your lungs have to heal and get strong again. It will not be easy.
Well, I guess death is easier. You just lie in a coffin and rot.
Honey, I can see from the doctor's expression that you're slowing vitals that you may not make it. The only way you'll make it is to fight for your life. I decided to bring your yellow sports car to the hospital to help you want to live. I figured seeing it would boost your spirits. I had a wee mishap, but your brother Bobby assures me that the right front fender can be reattached with pop rivets and some Bondo. Bobby has a neighbor who used to work for a garage. He's going to take a stab at fixing it.
My Camaro? Bobby's an idiot. I wouldn't trust Bobby to repair my lawnmower. I'd haunt Bobby for sure.
Honey, fight your way back. If we need help when you come home, I can invite my mother. She even offered to help feed and bathe you. Wasn't that nice of her?
Oh, I would pay to see that.
Oh, very funny. I know Ruth. She's just egging me on, trying to get me to wake up. Mind you, that bit about her mother.
Well, it is nice that someone cares.
Adam, I know life hasn't always been easy for us, but we've built a lot together. I don't want to keep going alone. And don't make me date at this point in my life.
She's kidding.
Maybe. She is beautiful. It would not be difficult for her to find someone else.
I don't like you.
You do not have to like or dislike me. Oh, I get certain feelings about people and your shortcomings.
Shortcomings? Yeah, I guess I do have a mitt full of those.
Everyone has those. Everyone. But, putting that aside, do you think perhaps it is time to make up your mind?
Oh, I guess so. I'm just so tired. What do you think I should do?
Your decision. Remember the cliche, life is what you make it? Doctors and nurses can only take you so far, Adam. At some point, you have to own up and do what you need to do.
In other words, shit or get off the pot.
And now who is spouting cliches?
This is scary.
Yes, it is. The unknown is always frightening.
Okay. I've made up my mind. Maybe I can help you win your $5 back. Here goes, till we meet again.
Leah?
Daniel, hey, sorry, I'm trying to finish this before lunch break is over.
What is it? It's the assignment Miss Perez assigned us for Intro to Lit. We have to choose a book with a child as the main character and write a report on why we like it or don't like it.
Sounds easy enough. What book did you pick?
Well, that's the problem. I wanted to write a report on something from home, but Miss Perez wants us to choose a book that they have on the school library.
Why?
Because all the books that they have in the school library are the ones that the school board already approved of. That way we don't bring in any books that could potentially offend someone.
Surely they still have some good books in the library.
Not that I could find. I searched all around the section for children's literature, and almost every single book I've read before had been taken off the shelf.
Do they at least have some of the classics? Something like Catcher in the Rye?
Definitely not. The school board put it for depictions of children smoking. They said they were worried it would set a bad example for us, which literally makes no sense at all.
I get it. I was in Mr. Gupta's history class, and when he was teaching us about the Civil War, some kid raised his hand and said he first heard about the Civil War when he was watching Gone with the Wind. You should have seen his face. He got all nervous right away. He said he's not allowed to talk about Gone with the Wind in class because it's on the blacklist for being too racist.
Please, like we don't know that racism existed during the Civil War.
Exactly. If anything, you think the school board would love Gone with the Wind.
Right. But you know how they think? They're so afraid of getting yelled at by liberal parents, they have to blacklist everything first, out of fear.
Give it a generation, and I bet no one even have heard of Catcher in the Rye.
Daniel, you never read the books assigned in class anyway.
Well, that's different. Maybe if the books they assigned in class were less boring, I'd be reading them.
What did they tell you to read now?
Some book about this woman whose father owns a funeral home. It's just sad and depressing the whole way through. But, surprise, it turns out she's a lesbian at the end, so apparently it's a masterpiece. I couldn't finish it.
No, thank you.
Told my dad about it. He was upset too. He said that when he was my age, the books they assigned him in class were things like The Frankenstein or The Grapes of Wrath. Really solid classics, and books where interesting things happen.
I mean, that's why classics are classic, right? If they're good enough for people to keep reading them years later, then they gotta have something worthwhile in them. The oldest book that I could find in the new school board approved library was from 1996. Apparently everything before then was too bigoted for my delicate sensibilities.
Ugh, and it's always about trying to protect us. Like I need someone looking out for my brain when I'm 14. It's like they think I'm gonna read a book about racism and suddenly become a racist.
Maybe that's how it is for kids with liberal parents. I mean, once you discover that there's no such thing as being morally right or morally wrong, and that everything is open into interpretation, suddenly you just start repeating everything you read.
Maybe. I mean, I can't understand it.
You know, to some degree, I feel bad for them.
For liberal parents?
No, for the kids. You know, you grow up in this little bubble where all of the jinxes of the world are missing. In this little safe space where nobody offends anyone else. But what's gonna happen when you get to the real world?
Well, hopefully they'll realize how wrong they were.
You'd think so. But there seem to be a lot of kids out there who never seem to have learned it.
If only they'd read 1984 when they were growing up.
Is that on the blacklist?
Too much discussion of God and religion, they said. But personally, I think it's because they think it's too similar to the world they want to create.
Makes you wonder if they've read it themselves. Maybe it would wake them up.
Maybe. So what book from the baby-proof library did you end up going with?
It's called Sophie and Her Mother's Girlfriend. It's about this girl whose parents get divorced, and then her mother starts dating a woman.
Sounds like a kind of book the school board would approve.
It's all about Sophie learning to be okay with her new stepmom, which obviously she's not in the beginning.
Well, yeah, it's weird.
There's this moment. Yep. There's this part where she's in the kitchen and she says, "Hey, Mom." And then they both turn around at the same time.
That's just confusing.
Yeah, well, maybe we could write to the school board and say that it's hurting our brains to think about it. Maybe they try to ban it to protect us.
Maybe. So what are you writing about it?
Well, I think that there's a lot I have in common with Sophie. She gets angry with her mom, and I get angry with my mom sometimes. I think if my parents got divorced and my mother started dating some woman, I'd also be frustrated. And, you know, in the end, she gets along fine with the new stepmom. And I like it when things have a happy ending. She can see how happy it makes her real mom, and I do sometimes do things that I don't really want to because it makes my mom happy. So even though it's not really something I could do, I sort of understand what she's going through.
Well, that's more than I can find in common with her.
Well, Miss Perez said that she wants us to find a book that you really have to try to relate to the character, who seems nothing like you on the surface. So I guess if it's difficult to connect with her, then I'm doing the assignment correctly. I mean, there aren't going to be any books with girls exactly like me. She said I could help to build empathy.
If she wants you to have empathy, why are they restricting you to only the books in the library? That's not having empathy for other people.
Exactly. I mean, if they are going to start banning every book they disagree with, you'd think that they need to learn some empathy.
You know, my dad said when he was our age, he wasn't really interested in learning about what it was like to be a slave until he read Huck Finn. Now that's a book that gives you empathy. But apparently having empathy for slaves is racist. Somehow.
I don't try to follow the logic.
Well, there isn't much to follow.
I know that. You know what book I really wanted to write the report about?
Huck Finn?
I wanted to write it about Peter Pan.
Oh, well, I love Peter Pan.
Have you read it?
No, but I've seen the Disney movie.
It's a great book. Sword fights with pirates, flying through Neverland, all of the battle scenes. My mom used to read it to me. A couple pages a night when I was younger. It's one of my favorites.
And it's blacklisted?
The Indians. Apparently, Tiger Lily isn't an accurate depiction of a Native American.
Why should it be accurate? It's a fantasy book about pirates and mermaids.
Right, but my sensitive brain.
Ah, yes. If you read Peter Pan, suddenly you'll think every Indian wants to kill you.
It's especially weird, too, because when I was growing up, Tiger Lily was my favorite. I liked how she was so energetic all the time and that she was the leader of the group. I definitely had days where I would run around the backyard pretending to be her. So, you think, you know, the school board, they're all about this idea that everyone should grow up into being a strong, independent woman. They should love Tiger Lily.
Again, the logic.
The lack of logic.
Right.
But instead, I'm stuck here with Sophie and her two mamas.
Which is apparently so much better.
Right, because how can Peter Pan be better than a book that only came out in 2024?
Wow, 4 entire years ago.
I guess this is what happens when you let people take over the school boards.
Maybe we'll win the election this year.
The school board election?
Any elections, all elections.
Right. You know what? I'm going to do it.
Do what?
I'll write my report on Peter Pan.
What? But you're not allowed to.
Miss Perez says I'm not allowed to. But if I write it anyway, she'll either have to accept it or fail me out. And if she fails me out, I'll go right to the principal and ask why one of his teachers is limiting us to only the books in the library.
You really think this is gonna work?
If it doesn't, then I'll take my case to the board, and then to the state government, and then to the courts, the Supreme Court if I have to. I bet they will see the merit of a book like Peter Pan.
This is a big deal, Leah. Are you sure you want to go through with this?
What happens if I don't? The school board keeps on kicking out any book that they think is racist or sexist or too challenging or not inclusive enough. Where does that leave us? We're talking about the death of the classics here.
Wow. You know what? I'm in.
Really?
Yeah. Next time Mr. Gupta says we can't talk about Gone with the Wind in class, I'm gonna ask him why. Why can't we talk about these older films? Because the school board says so? That's censorship. It's 1984 all over again. If they even know what 1984 is.
That's amazing. I think we can really turn this around.
We have to, for our own sake, for the next generation after us.
Sounds like the beginning of an awfully big adventure.
Yeah. Is that from something?
Maybe I'll lend you my copy of Peter Pan. Then you'll understand.
Jump already. What's wrong?
It's so far down.
Only 2 stories, what, maybe 20 feet.
Are you sure this is going to work out?
Of course. The umbrella will repel the force of gravity and you will float gently down to Earth.
Oh, like a parachute.
Exactly. Like when astronauts splash down in the ocean.
Well, I want to be an astronaut.
Buddy, if you don't have the courage to jump off the roof, you're never going to be an astronaut.
Really?
I'm your older brother. Would I lie to you?
Yes.
Wasn't I the guy who explained how babies were made?
Well, yeah, but I don't believe you.
Why not?
Because it's gross, and our parents would never do that.
They must have done it. At least twice.
How do you know that?
Because there's 2 of us.
Hey!
Dummy.
Oh, gosh. Cal, can I ask you a question?
That's all you do.
Well, why do Mom and Dad fight so much?
Is it so much?
It's every day.
I don't even notice anymore. I tune them out.
Oh.
So, jump already.
Well, I don't know.
It'll be like flying.
Really?
Yeah, it's like that poem says. You know, you'll slip the surly bonds of earth.
What does that even mean?
You'll escape gravity and fly.
Oh, okay. Wow.
That's right.
Oh,
Wow. What's wrong
well,
now?
it's just that, you know.
You're scared.
No, I am not.
Chicken. Blah!
Hey, stop it! Hey, stop it! Well, if you're so brave, then why don't you jump off the roof?
I've explained this. I'm heavier than you. For that umbrella to work for me, our house would have to be 4 or 5 stories high.
Oh, yeah.
I learned about it in science class, see? Velocity, acceleration, E equals mc squared.
Right. Well, in my science class, we're growing lima beans in paper cups.
I know. I went to 4th grade, remember? I'm surprised you're still allowed to do that.
Why?
In my class, some kid shoved one of the lima beans up his nose and it grew into his brain.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
What's cool about a lima bean in your brain? Listen, buddy, never ever stuff anything up your nose, okay?
Okay.
Now, jump.
Yeah, you're right. I'm scared.
You know, buddy, if you do this thing, you will be the envy of every kid in 4th grade.
You think?
I know. A lot cooler than that kid with the lima bean in his brain, anyway.
Hey, I want to, Cal. It's just that.
You know what paratroopers say when they're too scared to jump out of an airplane?
What's that?
They say, Geronimo!
Geronimo! What does that even mean?
Geronimo, great leader of the Apaches, very brave.
So they say Geronimo?
Yes, it gives them courage. And don't forget what else paratroopers do.
What's that, Cal?
When you hit the ground, tuck and roll.
Talking about. Oh, yeah!
Oh, and listen, buddy, if anybody asks, this is all your idea.
But it's your idea.
Well, I know, but you're the one that's brave enough to do it, so you deserve all the credit.
Thanks, Cal.
You bet. Now fly!
Geronimo!
Tuck and roll, buddy! Tuck and roll! Can't believe he did that. Are you okay, buddy? Say something. Buddy.
I am not okay. The umbrella doesn't slow me down at all. I do not slip the surly bonds of Earth. In fact, the non-elusive force of gravity caused me to plummet to the Earth so fast that I didn't have time to tuck and roll. I hit the ground so hard, breaks both my legs.
I told you to tuck and roll.
I recovered, but it takes months. On the bright side, I missed most of 4th grade. And on the downside, I still can't do fractions. Now, also on the downside, the pain in my knees always tells me when rain's coming. Like today. You know, whenever I'd complain about the pain, Cal says to me,
At least now you got a great story to tell at my funeral.
and I do. So I just did. Now, over the years, it turns out that Cal's right about so many things, like not shoving anything up my nose, or like how babies are made, which, if you really do think about it, is kind of gross. You know, don't get me wrong, Cal and I don't always get along. I mean, he does talk me into jumping off the roof of a 2-story house.
Allegedly.
Yeah, you know you did.
See if you can make that story stick in court.
Why are you always busting my shots?
Because that's what big brothers do.
It's like that old quote about brothers.
Not always eye to eye.
But always heart to heart.
Always.
When Dad leaves, Cal steps up and becomes a surrogate father to me. Anytime in life I face a challenge and I'm afraid, Cal takes me by the shoulders and says,
You were 9. You had the courage to jump off a roof with nothing but an umbrella. Take the leap now.
and I do leap. Into college, into marriage, into starting my own business, into so many things that I thought I could never do. Into living the rest of my life without him. But my brother, he knows better, and he says I can. When Cal was diagnosed with late-stage IgA nephropathy, terrible kidney disease, prognosis is, well, grim, to say the least.
Buddy, now I'm the one who's scared.
I do for him what he had done for me all my life. I'd take him by the shoulders, and I'd say, if I had the courage at 9 to jump off the roof with nothing but an umbrella, you have the courage now to fight this. And he does fight. Good God, how he fights. Every day, like a champion, right up until his final breath on earth. In fact, the last word Cal says is,
Geronimo!
after this committal service, I invite you all to join me at his favorite place, Rocky's Tavern, to raise a glass to Cal, to the best big brother a guy could have, and to wish him a safe landing on the other side. Remember to tuck and roll, Cal. Tuck and roll.
is that? What am I hearing?
It's Jimmy. He's plugging in the sound here.
That's water.
Rain.
No rain.
It's in the script.
I don't care what the script says. Tell him to take it out.
No rain, Jimmy. Cut the rain.
That's another sound. What is that?
It's wind.
No, absolutely not. Are you kidding me? What's wrong with him? Jenny, right?
Jimmy?
Is he hard of hearing? Can you hear me? Do you hear me, Jimmy?
Sorry, Mr. Steinman.
Do
Sorry.
you need a thesaurus? Does he need a thesaurus? No weather sounds.
Right. Got it.
He turned to wave at her. She waved at him while the ribbon of black water widened between the ship and shore.
Angela.
To lie on the
Mrs.
huge
Galensky?
naked bed and give herself over to weeping.
What are you doing? I'm lost, darling. What is this?
The script, it's how it's written. It's how I'm going to say it, word for word.
Okay.
She's upset with you, Mr. Steinman.
Wave, waved, water, ship, shore. That's 5 words that engage the imagery of the climate. $5,000 according to the city ordinance.
Wave doesn't count, it means this.
Your wife is referring to the word wave being a homograph. It has 2 meanings.
I know what a homograph is, and it doesn't matter. The city council will hear the sea levels are rising and we're going to drown. It's out. No words that conjure the thought of a possible water disaster. It's psychologically disturbing to the members of our community and more importantly, the benefactors of this theater.
She found nothing, not even footprints, only wave after wave of black water. I guess we're going to drown, Stephen.
Are you upset with me?
You gave my part away. You put a man in the role of Aphrodite.
She means Vernon Hudson.
Her name is Veronica.
No, it's really not.
Mrs. Steinman is upset because she's used to being cast in the leading female roles. And this time you cast her in
The more mature roles.
And you gave the pretty ingenue role to
A man. Nursemaid, therapist, scientist. That's what you have me playing, Stephen.
The wiser and more formidable characters.
But you won't let me say the wise and formidable lines in which Miss Zimmerman evokes the poetic drama of nature's wisdom. Winds are wild and savage. We'll meet the storms together.
Nothing in this play is allowed to be wild and savage and stormy.
You cannot change a playwright's words without permission.
Yeah, the ice sheets are melting. There's titanium dioxide in our food, fluoride, plastics, PFAS in our water, and 5G is everywhere. Those lines in the script, sea, shore, storms. How much, Mrs. Galensky?
$3,000.
If she wants to say them, take it out of her pay.
You can't garnish my pay for saying lines written into a script that I was hired to perform.
But why? Because I don't sit in this chair? Because I'm not the director of the show?
Really? You think you have all this Zeus-like lightning bolt power just because it says director on the back of your throne? Maybe you should have thought about that before bowing down to the tyrannical grant makers with your superficial virtue signaling. Aphrodite is a woman, a goddess. That is the whole point of her being her. And she smells nice. I did the research. She smells like apples, sweet apples, and myrrh, roses, lime trees. A man does not smell like that. I do. I wanted the Aphrodite part. You know what? Give me that chair.
What?
tell me what to do when your priorities shifted from creating timeless works of art to political pandering. You are no longer my director, and I am no longer your actress.
Well, we're doing a play, Angela, so what's our relationship then? Who are we?
Antagonists, apparently. Oh, listen to this. Listen to this line from the play. The weather was worse with every moment, for the winds were on the loose.
Weather wins, $2,000.
You cast me as a laundress who washes clothes in a pool of water.
The pool has been drained. Isn't that right, Mrs. Galinsky?
Yes, we're doing the scene without water. But I was wondering, Mr. Steinman.
I'm wondering too, Mr. Steinman. How do we do a play in which the main set piece is a pool of water without water?
No, don't give me a migraine. We open in 3 days. You don't know my responsibilities. You have to memorize a few lines and remember where to walk. I take care of the roof, the appetizers, the caterers for the opening night party. I have to get the financial backing, grants. It doesn't matter if you would have made a better Aphrodite. If I didn't check the right boxes on the grant application, there wouldn't have been a play.
You wouldn't have let this happen 20 years ago.
20 years ago, I was young and naive.
And someone I looked up to and learned from. You championed true artistic ideals and understood the importance of suffering and obstacles. You were a man who saw beauty in flawed characters like Oedipus and Lear, and as such, in each one of us, who is elevated and dispirited by the mere condition of being human. When you directed me in a doll's house and held my hands in yours, explaining to me how Nora's life was shattered because her husband chose his public persona over his love for her, I fell in love with you. When I played Ophelia, you helped me understand how my character was driven to insanity because she was forced to choose allegiance to authority over her love for Hamlet. I became a good actress and you a great director because you were honest and authentic and you cared, Stephen.
I still care.
About your paycheck and health insurance and what people say about you.
I care about the community.
Because of the sea levels, the temperature of the air? Miss Zimmerman's play is about gods. Gods mess with the weather.
Yeah.
The theme is the ever-changing, malleable, always in flux nature of weather and life, which is about us, humanity, humankind. That word, it means of one kind, of the same nature. We share something fundamental, and yet we are each unique. Me, as a woman, I am the one to play Aphrodite. A better Aphrodite than Vernon Hudson, who wasn't born female, who hasn't navigated this world as female, and who has to shave his face before every performance. Aphrodite is my role. She stepped into a shimmering stream and began to dissolve. Her body melted. It's poetry. It's womanhood. It's not global warming and transphobia.
When I bought the rights to this show, I didn't know that our Sand for Brain City Council would set fines for all references to things that make the community upset.
The only thing about theater that should upset a community is when a good play is ruined.
Well, that's not the way it works anymore.
There's a Poseidon in the cast. He swishes his hands around to make tsunamis. What do you do with that? Cross him out of the playbill? How far will you go to sacrifice your actors, your art, and your integrity? How can it be that easy for you to give in to the very people and institutions that the arts were born to criticize?
I'm talking about taking out a word here and there.
You're spurning freedom of speech, artistic license, even copyright.
I'm being socially conscious. There are a lot of triggering subjects out there, and people are sensitive. It's called empathy, Angela. Maybe you should try it sometime. It feels good.
It's pretend empathy. You're groveling, and not attractive.
With regard to Miss Diamond's point about Poseidon creating a tsunami, I was thinking we could do a dust storm instead. Like during the Dust Bowl in the Great Plains.
Dust Bowl?
We could fill a pool with sand and set up a fan. I got a few bags in my pickup. Sand isn't prohibited by the grant.
Prohibited?
Mm-hmm. The city council redlined the script, crossing out 67 references to water, 11 of wind, 5 having to do with the earth. It's a $1,000 fine for each violation.
What happens when I'm on stage and you have no control over the words coming out of my mouth?
It's summer stock, for God's sake.
It will help you save your soul. Come on, Stephen, we can fight this. We can make it work. Do you remember that spring you were hired to direct a play for a theater near a train track? You picked Murder on the Orient Express, and you timed your sound cues to match the train schedule.
Hey, what would you have me do?
Keep in every word that Miss Zimmerman wrote and use product placement to cover the fees. Instead of water, you can fill the pool with Diet Coke.
Narcissus wouldn't be able to see his reflection.
That's right.
Club soda then, or ginger ale.
Ginger ale is owned by Corinne Coffee,
Huh?
which is controlled by the Ryman family,
Did-
who supported Hitler's eugenics movement and is in partnership with the Chinese on designer fashion brands like Jimmy Choo.
Yeah, there's no getting around it, Angela. I'm doing my best.
You're being a coward.
Jesus, Mother Mary of Christ, Stephen, what is this?
Fill the quarry with sand, Mrs. Galensky.
You fired your own brother?
Come on, Stevie. We go back, bro. That little theater on the east side. The improv troupe in Minneapolis. Neil Simon in the Berkshires. Our childhood!
You're squeezing my balls.
You don't have any.
What do you want from me? I not only needed to get funding from the County Arts Commission, but we had to get permits. So, Poseidon is out. You can't say wave. Vernon Hudson is playing Aphrodite, and the god of the sea, the brother of Zeus and Hades, has to find a different summer gig.
But if there's no Poseidon, how can there be a storm? My winds are wild and savage. I practiced that.
Oh, this poor play.
It's a bad move, Stevie.
It's not only the line that changes, it's the whole play. What do you think happens to Midas's little girl when he can't wash his hands in the sea?
She remains a solid block of gold. Frozen. Not breathing.
No chance of resurrection for her. No chance of redemption for him.
I know where you're going with this. The play is about transformation, and without cleansing and washing and storms at sea, we're messing with Ms. Zimmerman's themes.
With the city council's edits, the characters no longer change, which the audience interprets as we as individuals don't change. A different theme altogether.
That's not a very good theme.
That's the way it is! Fill the pool with sand, Mrs. Galensky. Static, stoic, uncompromising sand is the medium. I'm not the one who's wrong here. These are the times we are in.
It's dystopian.
You're just angry because you're not the star.
You're not the man I married.
Then you're leaving the play?
Not only the play, Stephen.
Well, it's all right, Mrs. Galensky. Sometimes we have to move on and keep our eye on the prize for the sake of the play.
Something on your cheek, bro.
Is there?
Looks like a tear.
No, there's no tear here.
Can I be back in the play then? I'll only say the lines you tell me to say.
The quarry does have the sand ready to go. They can send over a truckload this afternoon.
And we have Angela's salary back in the till for any slip-ups.
Well, I have to pay another actress.
Not if you use audience participation.
Ooh! Interactive plays are a thing, Stevie. Come on, I'm back in. Say it. I'll take it upon myself not to say anything that will hurt people's feelings. What about my trident?
What, Mrs. Galinsky?
No fines or penalties for tridents, scepters, grenades, nuclear bombs. You just can't have a gun.
You can keep the trident.
What about the play's theme?
The play is now about stasis, constancy, not making a difference when the odds are stacked against you.
Then it's about not changing.
Yes, we'll need to inform the critics. Now, let's take it from the top. Where's the woman?
Mr. Hudson is getting Botox. I'll do his lines.
Be vigilant of the words and the theme.
From pencil in hand.
All right, let's start the scene.
I ask the help of the gods who know the trick. Change me. Don't change me.
This is when I come on with a jar full of sand and water, shake it up, and we watch the elements separate, creating order out of chaos.
Leave the water out. The jar has only sand. Now, we need the scientist. Mrs. Galinsky, how would you like to be a part of creation?
Okay. So I should say everything unless it refers to water, nature, or climate, or something I think might offend someone, and then I would just skip over those words. Okay? Before there was land or even and earth was all the same, what we call chaos, with neither to shed its light, nor moon to wax and wane, nor earth hung in its of air. If there was land and there was no discernible, no way to walk on the one or in the other. There was neither reason nor order until at last a God sparked. Then Zeus appears above the sky. He lights a cigarette.
It's all right, Mrs. Galinsky. We have backing from Philip Morris. The show will go on.
Round of no, it's working now. That was a nice round of applause. Thank you, folks. I hope you enjoyed all the shows. And now comes really one of my favorite parts of doing a production, and that is the talk back. And we'd love for you to ask questions and let us know what you think and whatever you want to know. The actors and directors will be coming out. We have them all over the place. They're coming out of the woodwork now. They're setting up chairs. Here they come. It's a little difficult with all those chairs. Give me those flowers. All right. We'll get them set. And I do have a special announcement I want to make before we start the talk back. This may be the most fascinating part of the evening is watching actors come out and set chairs down. We missing people? Yep, there's more coming. See, here comes more people. Everybody gets a chair. I'm really ad-libbing here. I don't know. All right. Just about everyone. Here she comes. Of course, the director brings out the director's chair. She won't sit in any other chair. So, before we have any talk back, there's a special announcement I have to make. Today marks an important birthday for a member of our cast, Mr. Brad Barbin. Today's his birthday. I think. Happy birthday to you, Brad. Happy birthday to you. All right. Unfortunately, Brad is, rather shy and reserved, and will not say anything during this talk back, but we can always hope for the best. All right, folks, so I'd love to know what questions you have, or comments, thoughts, whatever. Take it away. It always starts like this. But it will improve, I know it. Thoughts? Yes, we have somebody with I thought there was a question. Any questions, or Shanda, get your question ready. If there's any questions or comments that anybody has, we do have one coming up. So here comes Krista with the microphone. By the way, we do have folks watching us from all over the country live stream. So we'd like to say hello out there in TV land. So, thank God for Fred Mertz.
Okay, so Stacy Zewberry has a groupie.
147 people here. We know, yeah.
A groupie. We're going to follow her from here to wherever. This is our new thing. Our new going to church.
This is it? Wow. You won't get far around here. I'm Jewish. So, okay. Yeah, you can do whatever you want. Questions, comments? That question ready, Shanda? Anything? Come on, folks. Must be something. We have a couple of hands now. Here comes Krista. Got to get them going, and then they start asking the questions.
Okay, after reading the letter at the front of the program, I think I'm be curious to find out the opinions of the performers about the role of performance art in enlightening or fueling discussion.
Wonderful. The role of performance. We have a heady audience tonight. Yesterday, people asked, what's your favorite color? This was a much better question. But, okay, so Stacy. Stacy. Going to get a applause.
So we sort of had a similar question yesterday, and I just want to say, I think how I answered it was yesterday was when I first signed up for doing this play with Stage Right, I was a little bit worried because I am very sensitive on how people think on both walks of the aisle, and I was leery about about offending people, or you just never know. And I think it's so important to always look at the other person that might not agree with you and ask questions and educate yourself. Because a lot of times I think hate and all these different things is because we don't know about the person or what they've gone through. And so I just think that's important to educate about all kinds of walks of life and learn, because I do really think that everybody's a good person inside. We just have to find that in them. And we have to be open to hearing what they say, and we don't have to agree with them. And I do like your motto, which is,
disagreement does not equal hate.
Which I think it's a beautiful motto, because I sometimes think we take it too far. If we disagree, we're just going to turn off that person or that group of people, and I think we should remain open as much as we can.
That wouldn't be bad. She'll keep things clean, that's for sure. And other comments from the audience about Enlighten? I thought I saw another hand. No? Oh, okay. All right, Danny, thank you. Go for it.
My name's Danny. I'm not one of the performers tonight, this afternoon, but I was the director for children's literature, the second play. And so to kind of play off of what Stacey was saying, I think theater is intrinsically and I think uniquely poised to show people, to be a mirror to humanity. And so naturally, through theater, we should be able to see actual three-dimensional people. And so I think no truer and no more necessary than it is today that we need this type of art form to explore these people, to take an hour, like we just did, take an hour, and maybe it's one person, maybe it's several people in a group of shows, and kind of just share the space with them and maybe understand them a little bit better by the end. They don't have to be the same as you. You don't have to agree with them, or the actors portraying the characters don't have to be anything like those characters. But it's still a good exercise to have that sort of learn how to socialize with people who aren't yourself, because none of us are 100% the same. So I think that's a unique blessing of theater.
Well Well done. Medium rare. Who else has a other question? I thought I saw two hands. Don't be shy. We have a hand here. Krista's coming. Here comes Krista.
Just kind of wondering, Adam, what did you choose?
The what did you choose question. Yeah, I see your hands.
I said this last night. It's not polite to answer a question with a question, but I will. What do you think I did? Okay. Slither, yeah.
You know it well.
I slither well. There's a lot of discussion and a good question, and some folks think it's ambiguous. Our director kindly allowed us to play it a lot of ways, and I'll turn to Veronica here in a second. But to answer your question, because you've asked it so nicely, I decided to stick around. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, the one thing as a director, I love to allow my actors to, I like to explore the script always for opportunities where there could be ambiguity, to allow for that as allow the actor to take that on and explore both in a rehearsal process, so that perhaps sometimes when it's not explicit in the script or the way that a line can be delivered will allow for a different interpretation of what is possible at the end. That's what I tried to allow for with the words. You know, some people will say, oh, but it was very clear that this is really what the script is, the words are saying this. But if you really read the script, there's enough of an opening where it's not explicit. You might read it one way and think, oh, well, I naturally went in this direction. But you could also play devil's advocate and read it and realize there actually is an opening where it's not explicitly stated what he chooses. And so it's really about, you know, how you kind of follow the through line of the story as it's written. And I really felt that through the rehearsal process and, you know, as we did the scene over and over and over again, there were some differences that popped up, some opportunities that popped up depending on how the lines were felt by the actor and portrayed, that I really think for Doug, we really played with that. And to me, I like the authenticity. The more that an actor can feel the authenticity of the dialogue, then you really get to experience the depth of their performance in a greater way. So Doug, in his exploration, I allowed him to figure that out for himself. And the way that script, I thought it was nice to leave it as a not definitive answer, because to me, a play is about invoking the audience's inner thought life. You know what I'm saying? It's giving you the opportunity to experience a story and kind of put yourself in that situation. Say, well, what would I do? Or my gosh, you know, I relate to that in X, Y, and Z. And so I wanted to bring it open to the audience to kind of be left with that, what would you do? Leaving it feeling more personal, if that makes sense.
Thank you. Very good question. What's another good question that you might have?
Stacy, aren't you glad we are all here? Okay. I have a question. Okay, first of all, the first two plays really made me stop and think. One, in relationship to a situation with my father, and the second, I was a middle school teacher. How old are you guys? The middle school?
No. You'll never hear them without this mic.
Never. Oh. I'm 15.
I'm 14.
Okay. Yeah, I lived middle school world. Have you ever encountered something like that in your schools?
So not with the books that were listed in our class. There have been situations where they're like, oh, especially when I was in middle school. I'm in high school now. But especially when I was in middle school, I feel like there are books where they're like, oh, no, you shouldn't read that. That's not going to be appropriate for you, or that's going to give you wrong ideas and stuff. But they never actually, didn't let us read anything. For example, 1984, that was my summer reading book this year. If anyone knows anything about Dublin school districts, that was the summer reading book that I had to read this year. But, yeah,
they don't really ban anything. They just give us suggestions on what not to read, which is kind of an interesting outlook. But
Yeah, I've never had that experience, but my friends have had it, and so no, I think it just depends on like, I guess like what you need to read the book for. But I've seen times at my school or just other schools where it's like you have to read these set of books because, you know, like these books aren't appropriate or don't fit like the like relation to the project or whatever. But I've never experienced it.
I kind of remember my children, who are adults now, having in school reading books that I was like, where do these books come from? I mean, I remember reading, as they talk about in the play, classics, and they weren't reading a lot of them. And the fact of the matter is, I believe that my kids really didn't like any of those other books. The mother of those children is right here. Is that what your memory too? Say yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Other questions? Yes, we have a question up front. Here comes Krista. She's getting her exercise in, getting her steps.
All right, so I don't know if this is a question as much as a comment. We've been here for all three shows.
Yeah, I know.
There were some things that came out in the first couple of shows I think were interesting, right? So one, you said in the first show that the playwright of the first show was, I think that was one of the people that comes from a liberal point of view, and they were worried about whether you would let them.
The first show? Oh, yeah. No, the first show. Yes. He said yes. That just to fill you in, the first person, Rich Helms, who wrote On the Edge, when I said I'd like to do the play, he wrote back to me and said, you may want to reconsider because my wife and I are liberal. And I said, why on God's earth would I care that you're liberal? Take it.
Yeah, and then the second show, or the second one, children's literature, I kind of went down a rabbit hole because I thought it was really interesting, and I looked Zach up. Zach he doesn't agree with any of your points of view from a political perspective,
right?
But there's a lot of commonality in the idea that neither side really likes book banning,
right?
Or shouldn't, and he actually believed in children having choices. So I think it's really interesting how much commonality there is, even though you have a different political agenda, and Zach and those folks had a different political agenda. Like, there's way more commonality in this than you would think. So the idea that you're not getting funding or that there's something about, I think it's just insane.
Thank you. I will tell you also that the author of Geronimo is also not going to go to any parties with me, political parties with me. And that's fine. That's actually this is actually the second play that F.J. Hartland has written that we've produced. So, you know, it's not about who you're voting for, FJ, and that'll tell me if I'm going to choose your play. Other questions? Krista's on her way. Do you ever see anybody move that fast? Just pass it down. You get to the end of the row, I have to take it back. Go ahead.
Okay, I don't know whether I've thought this out particularly well, but I'm definitely a liberal. And when I hear that liberals are banning these saying that you can't mention a certain word or refer to black people or gay people or whatever, it's the liberals who are doing the opposite. The liberals are saying be tolerant. And so then read Huck Finn. You know, read these books because they are a recount of what was really going on, and then delve into why was it going on and is it relevant today. But when the references were, the liberals won't let us do these books, it seemed weird to me, unless I was mishearing it or something.
No, that's definitely there, and the playwright of children's literature said he wrote this in particular. It was the liberals doing it. I'd have to disagree with you, ma'am. They are doing it a lot, but that was his point of view too. And as we just heard, he's not in my camp. So it's happening. Here comes Alyssa.
Well,
and then.
And unfortunately, Zach has been here the last 2 nights, and he's not here today because then I think he would probably speak for himself on this. But
something that he's really passionate. As he's mentioned the last 2 nights, he's really passionate about this topic, which is why he felt compelled to write this play. And Danny, you can fill in if I'm missing anything. But he is disgruntled about the fact that there are book banning recommendations coming from both sides of the aisle. And so he really feels like this is a bipartisan issue and doesn't think that it's fair from either side, and wishes that book banning would not be happening in general, and really feels like we should have faith in teenagers having the wherewithal to choose the kinds of books that they're interested in reading and not deciding for them what is appropriate or not appropriate for them to read. So that's just a little bit more about Zach.
Well, I was an English teacher for middle school kids. And what I like to do is bring up these very topics and investigate them. But I don't like using just bashing the liberals for it. When I look at Fox News, I'll tell you what, they bash a hell of a lot of people. And you talk about that being, I'm sorry, I just can't agree with that at all.
That's fine. I hope you'll watch CNN, MSNBC, and all the other channels that bash. There's a lot of it going on. Go ahead, Danny.
Yeah. I was also going to add, and honest to goodness, I wish Zach was here. It's important to know Zach, the playwright, they're actually a non-binary individual. And the example that they give the past 2 nights was that the #1 banned book in the United States today is a book regarding transgenderism. And so I think part of what they were trying to get at, of course, was just looking at it maybe from a side that we haven't experienced. I can say personally, as an individual, I have experienced in a school district that I interact with concerns over books from the opposite angle, not the angle that was presented this evening. So I think it's trying to maybe reach a different audience that might not otherwise see it that way. Try and bring people together in that way. But yeah, no, I understand.
Thank you. It's good to have a conversation like this, isn't it? No? Oh, okay. Other questions, thoughts? Oh, this lady has a question. Oh, so they should have slowed it down. Okay, well, thank you. Tell you what, next time we do this, slow it down. Okay? We're not doing it again, but anyway. What else? Well, we might. You never know what'll happen. What other questions do you have? Thoughts? Anything from our cast and crew that you'd like to say, other than happy birthday, Brad? I mean, we did that. Yes, you have a question.
Yeah, I have a question for one of the actors in the show we've just been speaking about. I was very interested in the design of the actual book, and so if you could tell us a little bit more, is that an actual book, or just tell us a little bit more.
Oh my goodness! Hello. Oh my goodness. So this is the amazing book, Sophie and Her Mother's Girlfriend. It's very, very entertaining. Not a real book. You cannot buy this at your local Barnes and Nobles, but that's okay. Okay, so here's a little tour of our book. This book cover was created by Danny over here. What do you have to say about your book? Great response. Great response. So here we have this book written by Dijon Mustard. If you did not read the playbill, my last name is Mustard. Hello, I'm Ainsley Mustard. And my father is in the audience. Dijon, could you please stand up for us right now? Yes, oh my goodness, thank you so much. No, I'm kidding, his name is actually Josh, but that's okay. And then on the back here, from the Washington Diary, better than reading 1984, that's for sure. Yay. And then the promo, what was that?
Who's the guy?
Oh, yes. Then we have our dear Ken from the Barbie movie on the back. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Okay. And then one last thing. The promo for the book. Will Sophie learn to accept her mother? Will her mother learn to accept Sophie? Will Sophie's dad find himself a boyfriend? Thank you very much. That is it. That is all for today.
I've just lost control of this talkback. No, but that's very wonderful. And I'm glad the mustards are here, and we'll get together and catch up. Okay, no. I'm sorry. I really relished saying that. Oh my God, I did it again. Okay, all right. Any other questions at all, or thoughts? Well, I hope you. If not, I hope that you took something to think about. That's all. You know, I think I say it in the playbill, the duck bill. Sorry, I'm not playing playbill for that. I'm not here to make converts. I'm here to make people respect what we're trying to do. Okay, and that's why I really this festival, which, as I said, this is our 9th year. Okay, and I'm not a math guy, but I will tell you that next year is going to be 10. So I just figured that out, and so we've been able to survive despite the funding challenges that we've had, and as you can imagine, a majority of the theater community does not embrace what we're trying to do, and I think that's really awful because I'd like everybody to come see it, because you shouldn't make an opinion about what I'm doing unless you see what I'm doing. Come and see it. Let's push some questions. Let's offer questions and have a civil conversation. And then you know, if you don't like what I'm doing, that's fine. But at least you gave it a shot. You know. So that's what as I say, I don't want to find converts. I'm here to find just people who will. Okay, I can accept that. I don't agree with it, and that's fine. Because as you know, disagreement does not equal hate. So, and I trademarked that, so you can't use it. I'd like to just remind you, if you didn't see it in the duck bill, that my company is starting a new program, and that is called Before They Were Gods. And this is every year we're going to feature a classic master American playwright. We're starting with Eugene O'Neill this year. And what we're going to do is we're going to present short plays that are lesser known. So we're starting off in March with 2 short O'Neill plays. One is called Isle from 1917, and the other is called The Rope from 1918. It's probably not the plays that jump out at you when you think of Eugene O'Neill. You probably think of, rightly so, A Long Day's Journey into Night and The Iceman Cometh. Well, in September, we're also producing a full-length by O'Neill called Desire Under the Elms, an early play, full-length play, a beautiful play in its own way, and you'll get to learn a little bit about what O'Neill was trying to do with American theater. We'll have a little presentation about O'Neill's life, and then we'll go into the 2 plays, and we'll have another talk back to talk about it. So if you're coming, prepare a question. But at any rate, keep an eye out for that with Stage Right. I thank you all very, very much for coming. We do appreciate it, and hope to see you again at one of our presentations. Whether you agree with us or not, I don't care. You're welcome to come. So thank you. I did it my way. Oh, is this on? Shoot.
Between the show? Oh, in the show? Yeah.